Are you ready? All right. A couple of things here we want to touch on. This idea of decision cannot be given too much attention. We go through school, we're not taught how to make decisions. Parents wanting to protect their child, look after their kids, they make decisions for the kids. Now, if you make decisions for a little child and you keep doing that, and they get up to 15, 18, they're not going to know how to make a decision on their own. Why do you think people are always saying, what do you think I should do? What do you think? What do you think? You're usually asking somebody that doesn't think. This is so important. Now, he pointed out that all the successful people, there was no exception. This guy spent his whole life researching the real super powerful people. They made decisions very fast, changed them very slow, if and when they changed them at all. Now, he said the people who weren't successful made decisions very slow and changed them fast enough. Why would they change them so slow? Well, they're looking for the help they need to get where they're going to go. We say that the alien frequencies again. You've got to grasp the idea everything's an expression of one power. And what allows the law of vibration? Levels of vibration are known as frequencies. You and I think on a frequency. Now, we touched on this. The thoughts we think, that you're thinking all the time, produce the results you get. You can't have a person worrying about money and thinking about debt and always working at getting out of debt that's going to end up wealthy. They're not going to do it. If your goal is to get out of debt, you'll probably stay in debt forever because you attract what you think about. Now, if you are in debt and you want to figure out how to solve the problem, go to our site, download You Were Born Rich, go to the second chapter. And there's a section in there, how to get rid of debt. You've got to create a debt repayment program where a certain percentage of your income goes to that program. And then they take care of the debts. It's all automatic. You set up an automatic situation. You can take your mind off it and start saving and start collecting and start earning money. But I'm going to tell you, if you're thinking of getting out of debt, you'll probably stay there forever. Not a good goal. So we say, this is where we are, and then that's where I want to go. Now, this is so common. It's so common that even though we've been talking for 3 days, some of you are still doing this. I'm going to do that as soon as. I'm going to do that as soon as. And you can't make a decision to do it because we don't know how to do it. How can we make a decision if we don't know how to do it? What do we have to do? We've got to study what's going on. And we're going to do that as soon as this changes. Well, pretty soon the decision fades. And when it fades, pretty soon the goal fades. See, we're living where we don't want to be, and we don't even understand what's going on. Now, the frequency that has the thoughts that will turn into the ideas that will manifest your goal, you're not even listening on that frequency. You're way down here on this frequency trying to figure out how to do something up here. You're never going to figure it out. And that's why most people stay stuck. These are intelligent people. But they're back here. I'm going to do that as soon as. Yeah, there's always a reason why. The real reason why is they don't know how to get there. They don't know how to do it. And what they don't understand is that's a prerequisite for going after the proper goal. If you know how to do it, you've already done it. Or you've got it all figured out, so there's no growth involved. If that's where you are, God bless you, because you're going to need a lot of help. You're stuck. And that'll fade, and then the goal fades. Now, that's not a fun way to live, but that's the way most people live. Not just most, over 90%. And these are intelligent people. They make decisions fast because they know they got to get on that frequency, and they're not letting what they're doing here control their thinking about where they're going. They make bold moves. Step out, this I will do. See, their paradigm has them convinced. This is absolutely ridiculous, talking about doing that. You don't even have any money. You've never done that before. You're going to go, what? You're moving to where? You don't even have a job there. They need some of those high-octane thoughts, and they're not going to get them down where they live. I think everybody can relate to this. When you say, I'm going there, it's an irrevocable decision. You automatically flip your brain onto that frequency. That's how the super successful become super successful. Now think of this for a moment. They have no idea how it's going to happen. They have faith. They believe in themselves. They've got a high degree of confidence. You only have to do this once or twice and understand what you're doing, and you're away to the races. Like how I'm going to get there, where the money's going to come from, none of that. It's irrelevant. We went out one time, Sandy and I went out on a tour. We went into Tel Aviv. We went from Tel Aviv to Cyprus. We went from Cyprus to Dubai. We went from Dubai to Melbourne, Australia. Went from Melbourne over to Auckland, New Zealand. And then we went from there back to LA. She went home and I went home. Every place we went, there was a crowd of people when they're leaving. They wanted a picture or an autograph, or they wanted to ask a question. We didn't have time to stay and visit. We had to get the hell out because we had a plane waiting for us. But all the way, I was thinking, God, if I could have stayed for a few minutes, just maybe answer a question, change their life. It was bothering me that I couldn't have had to leave. Everywhere I went, every place I went, there was a big crowd of people that they wanted just a minute, just a minute. Well, figure if I just spent a minute with everybody here, I'd be here for days, But I kept thinking, what could we do? What could we do? Now, I was thinking this all the way around. It was on the plane from LA to Toronto. We thought we could stream. We could meet these people. I didn't know anything about streaming. But I heard, what's the guy's name from Dallas, Mavericks? Cubic, yeah. I had heard he earned his money in streaming. I don't know if that's true or not. But I do know he sold his company for $5.4 billion, a young guy. And it's streaming. So anyway, I get back in Toronto, and I'm thinking of this, and I phoned Joshua, IT guy in that company, and I said, Josh, do you know anything about streaming? He said, well, yeah, what do you want to know? I said, can I stream? He said, of course you can. I said, how do I stream? I said, give me a half hour or so. So he goes on my computer and changes, fixes things. And he phoned me back. He said, go on to your desktop. See that icon? And I said, you just said that, and you can stream anywhere you want to go. I said, you're kidding me. Yeah. Go on online and CGI streamer, Bob Proctor streamer or something. In less than 48 hours, we had earned $500,000. We had, I don't know how many hundreds of streamers from something like 30 or 60 different countries signed up. 48 hours from the time I thought of the idea on the plane. If you're not prepared to act, not knowing how it's going to happen, where the money's going to come from, where the people are going to come from, you don't really deserve much more than you've got. And you're not going to get much more than you've got. I mean, that is just a deal. Nobody can make a decision for you. I never made decisions for my kids. I was a little bit of havoc at times. I remember one time, you can always tell when your kids are going to lay something on you. It's sort of like they're circling the field, they wander around, and you're waiting for them to say whatever it is. Well, this one day, Raymond's wandering around a little bit, and he said, Dad, can I talk to you? And I said, sure. He said, I'm thinking of quitting the swimming team. What do you think? I said, I don't know. I'm not on the swimming team. Well, he said, I've been thinking about it, and he said, this isn't going to do me much good when I graduate. I thought that's probably true. Just maybe a lifeguard or something. And I knew exactly what was going on. See, we'd hear him closing the door, leaving the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, because they train early in the morning. And we'd all be rolling over and grabbing another half hour or something, and he'd be off to the tank, swimming. Sometimes it would be cold out, he'd be freezing. And that's what he didn't like. I'd been to a couple of swim meets, and I'd talked to his coach, and they liked him because he's a big guy. He was very good. So I said, have you talked to the coach about it? Well, no, not yet. But, I said, why haven't you talked to the coach about it? What are you talking to me for? Well, he said, I want to know what you think. And I said, I haven't got any opinion on it, right? Well, I said, I don't think it's going to help me when I leave. And he was stuck on that. See, he thought that was a legitimate reason to quit. And so we battered it back and forth. And I knew exactly what he was doing. And so he said, well, you think it's okay then? I said, I didn't say that, right? That's a decision you're going to make. Okay, well, he's wandering away. And I said, oh, Ray, by the way, I said, you're having trouble with this, aren't you? Well, yeah, well. I said, something, next time you go to quit, it's going to be easier. And I said, you do it often, you'll get real good at it. And you'll be a real good quitter. I would say, oh, God. Sometimes it's not easy. I remember Colleen one time, she's my daughter, and she's a teenager, I guess, and she says, Dad, yeah. Can I talk to you about something? I said, sure. She said, Gary and I were thinking of going away for the weekend. What do you think? And I said, oh, shit. I said, I don't know. I don't want to go away with Gary for a weekend. What are you asking me for? I'm not sure whether she went or not. I think maybe she did, but you're going to get hit with questions. And if you answer them, they're not going to learn how to make a decision. When you get this down and you understand, you make a committed decision, I'm doing this. How you're going to do it is irrelevant. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you're going to do it. All that matters is you're going to do it. When you understand this, the way will be shown. It'll happen. Things will happen you wouldn't even dream of. You're dealing with universal intelligence. All the knowledge there ever was. And it locks in on your idea. Everything you need is going to stream right to you. That may be problems that are going to stream to you. You've got to get stronger. If you're going to live way up here, you've got to work your way up. It's not only going to be a bed of roses, you're going to attract some big problems. That's what consultants are designed to do. That's what they're trained to do. Go into a company and look for problems. They know when they find a big problem, they solve it. There's a big solution. When you make the decision, you flip your brain onto that frequency. Now, you're using your phone all the time. You use it, it's almost automatic. You're somebody on speed dial. You never wonder, are they going to get the message? You know they're going to get the message. You know when you send a text, they've got it. Why? Because it's operating on that principle. Well, you've got to operate on the same principle. When you make the decision, you're on the frequency you have to be on, and you will attract what you have to attract. Now, there's the one most people don't understand, is the law of compensation. Every time I go to teach this, I think of a lady that works in a company. I don't know if she's here. Is Jacqueline McKenzie over there? Is she there? Would you come up? Come here for a minute. Come on over here. You met her the other night on a panel. Come on over here. Have you got a microphone? Give her a microphone. Okay. Come on up here. How are you, Jacqueline?
I'm really well.
Good. Thank you. Okay. We're going to be talking about law of compensation. Now you remember, I remember, and I'm sure you do, when you came and you talked to me that you wanted to earn more money. You weren't earning very much money. You were going to be on your own with 3 little kids. How old are they?
So my oldest rider he's 14 years old, and my middle son Liam is 8 years old, and my youngest Oliver is 6 years old.
Okay. They cost a lot of money.
They do, especially my 14-year-old.
By the way, I owe you $200 for them.
You do.
Yeah.
It was his birthday recently.
I phoned Ryder and I told him it was his birthday, and I said, I'm going to give your mother $200 for you. Go buy whatever you want. Don't let her tell you what you can get. And I said, now, and I told Jacqueline on the phone, I said, when I see you, I owe you $200. And I just thought of that. We're talking about money. You mentioned Ryder. I better pay up or shut up. Okay. Now,
it's already spent.
You want to learn how to earn more money. She'd been in a seminar and said, I can show you how to earn more money. And I told her what to do. And I said, what's your background? What was your background?
Well, I worked in construction for 11 years as a project manager and estimator. So that's what I
and what's the most you ever earned in a year?
This is so sad, but the most I'd ever earned was $45,000.
Okay. Now think. So somebody asked me how she could earn more money. Well, first thing I wanted to know, what's the most you've ever earned? Because that's about where her frame of reference would go. And I said, how much you want to earn? No, I don't know. Come up with a big number. I said, well, you do exactly what I tell you. She sent you a message. See, they wanted to hold the mic up. They put it on the screen. All right. She said, when you started to earn more money, you did what Ray Stanford told you. Is that right? She said, yes. I said, yes. She said, I'll do exactly what you tell me. And you have. You are an incredible student. I was saying Narasha is a great student. You're an excellent student. Even Monica is an excellent student. You know? But anyway, I told you to become a consultant. The idea scared you, didn't it?
Oh, huge. I mean, I didn't know how to coach people. I loved everything. Like, I loved what Bob taught. I loved the principles. I had been studying him. I wanted to, basically, I wanted to do what he was doing. And, like, all the thoughts that went through my mind was, like, who are you to go and do what he's doing or teach these principles? Or you haven't even had success in your life, so who are you to go and mentor other people?
Is this the paradigm that you're talking about now?
Yeah. That was the thought process that was going on in my mind. Like, I really wanted to do it. But the other part of my mind was saying, you can't do this. And if you would have met me 4 years ago, I was the most quiet, shy, introverted person.
You still are.
But I would have never been able to get up here and do this, that's for sure.
Anyway, she... I'll tell you how good a student she is. She studied what I did. And she said, I'm going to do what you did. I said, what did I do? I was trying to figure out where she was going. She became a consultant, but then you went and took a job working for another consultant.
Yeah, I did.
And you earned a fraction of what you could earn if you had been working for yourself. Why did you do that?
I wanted to learn how to be the best consultant. And Bob always teaches is to become the best, you got to surround yourself by the best, and you got to be trained by the best. And when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. And there was a consultant who was really making it happen. And I went and worked for him and learned how to really build this business in a short amount of time. And then I went out on my own. And
but you earned a lot of money for him.
Yeah, I did.
But you learned.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did with Nightingale Conant. She was following that pattern. She had heard what I did. I gave up a lot of money to take a job in Chicago. What did you earn over the next year?
So I remember Bob saying, and I'm sure you've heard this, is he can show anyone how to take their annual income and turn it into their monthly income. Well, I remember when I first heard him say that, I was thinking, and I was a consultant, and I was thinking, that was a really big idea for me to even think about. I'm like, wow, could you imagine taking what I used to make as a project manager? And so I said, that's what I want to do. I want to take my annual income and turn it into my monthly income. And I followed instructions to the T, and within 1 year, I was able to do that. And but that's the thing is, Proctor Gallagher Institute.
What year in that year?
Just over 500.
Over $500,000. When I met my wife, she was earning. I said, "How much did you earn this year?" $24,500. I said, "You work all year for $24,500?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "That's crazy." I said, "If you do exactly what I tell you," she earned $495,000 her first year. You earned over $500,000. She understands this law. As she did so good, we wanted her in the company. We brought her inside. You've done a great job, just a phenomenal job. But the point when I saw that, I thought of you because I remember you asking me about that. Mm-hmm. You didn't refer to it as a law of compensation. You referred to it, how do I earn more money? You say you have to know how to earn it. She obviously didn't know how to earn it. She thought you'd go to work. You have learned it really well. And you've taught a lot of other people. Mm-hmm. I want to congratulate you. Thank you. Give her a big hand. Thank you. She's a great mother. Mothers are very important in my life. My mother was, God bless my mother. I mean, every time Ellen, myself, or my sister Helen, and any one of us get on the phone, we're always God blessing mother. My mother had some of the most phenomenal work habits. And it didn't matter how tough things were. Man, she saw some tough times. She just believed you could do it. Just go and do it. Just go and do it. She never really understood this law. If she had it, I think she'd have earned pockets of money. But she didn't understand it. We didn't understand it. But she gave us good work habits. If you got good work habits, you can make this fly. Now, some of you are wondering how you earn money. I'm going to show you right here. The law of compensation very clearly states that the amount of money you earn is always, not sometimes, always going to be in an exact ratio. Exact ratio for three things: the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing it. Now, if you study this, I'm talking about from a serious perspective, you're going to know that there's only one of these three you have to focus on, and that's in the center. Now, there's probably a tremendous need for what you're doing now. There's a great need for what you're doing. You had nothing to do probably with creating it. It's just there and you become aware there's a great need. There's a need for what I do. There's a need for what Jacqueline does all over the world. I have found, Sandy was talking about, I don't know, it was Romania or somewhere, they had 7 different booths in the back. They were simultaneously translating into 7 languages for the people in the audience. They came from 7 different cultures to the one place. They wanted to know what we were teaching. Everywhere we go in the world, it's exactly the same. There's a need for what we do. Therefore, you can go anywhere in the world and make this work, and we do, all over the world. So the need is there. There's probably a need for what you do. It's already there. Now the second step, your ability to do it. You just have to work at getting better. I know I'm not as good at this as I can be, so I work at getting better. Now when you get real good at it, the third step is taken care of. You're very difficult to replace. If you're difficult to replace, your stock goes up. So you see, the only one you have to focus on is this one right here, your ability to do it. We want to master whatever it is we do. Get so good at it, you're a crack shot. You just will not mix. And don't say I'm not good enough at it. Get better at it. Find somebody that's good at it. Do what they suggest. Doesn't matter how uncomfortable you are. Step out and do it. Jacqueline McKenzie was the sweetest, the quietest, the most introverted that I'd ever met. But you know something? Today, totally different personality. So is her income. And so is their ability to look after their children. Your ability to do it. You want to get real good at it. Now, Bill talks about big money. I think there's an article in your bag of tricks. You can look at it later. It's talking about big money. And most people never get into it, although they could. I love the way Earl put it. He said most people think they want more money than they really do, and they settle for a lot less than they could earn. That is so true. I remember the first time I heard him say that. I thought, gosh, is that ever right? Now look, through the effective use of paradigm power, you can make a decision to turn your annual income into a monthly income. Now, rather than just treat that as a suggestion, Sam, I'll come back to you. You're right here in the center. If you had every month what you've earned in your best year, you'd live different, wouldn't you? Much different? Quite a bit different. What's something you'd change? Everything would change. Pretty well. What's something you'd like to change fast? You'd like to change where you live. You're not too fond of where you live? Well, why don't you move? You sort of feel centered right now, don't you? You see, you think you're not moving because you don't have the money or something like that. That's not the problem. You just haven't made a decision you're going to move. You said make a decision you're going to move. Say, I'm going to be in a new place 30 days from today. And that's a given. That's just going to happen. Then you'll start looking. You're probably not even looking because you haven't made a decision to do it. Is this making sense? I said if I was earning more money, I would change the way I'm living. You don't need any more money to change the way you're living. You have to make a decision. Then the money will come. Make sense? What kind of a place do you want? You want to live on the beach? Well, there's lots of beach, so, what the hell? The outside of the whole world's a beach. So you got lots of choices, especially around here, don't you? What beach do you want to live on? Newport would be cool. Well, go look there. There's probably lots of places there. And there's probably one with your name on it. Now, you see, most people in your position, Sam, they won't even go and look. You not only want to go and look, you want to make up your mind you're going to do it. I could tell you a zillion stories about things like this. Read the one about Pat and John in the book. They can't buy a house, they haven't got any money. I said, you don't need any money. And of course, they didn't. They hadn't made a decision. The second they made a decision, they got the money. Now, if we turn our annual income to a monthly income, what would you change? Start to use your imagination. Don't just treat this like information in school where you store it through, pretty interesting, and then go on to the next idea. Stop and analyze it. Think about it. Look, there are 3 income earning strategies, just 3. M1, M2, and M3. M1 is a terrible strategy. M2 is better, but not as that great. M3 is the one. If you're going to teach your kids one, teach them that one. And I'm going to tell you something. If you don't teach your kids how to earn money, odds are pretty good they're not going to learn how to earn money. They have to be taught. Sam, what you're going to see here is very important. M1 is the strategy is used by 96 out of every 100 people. It's a dumb strategy. It doesn't work. It never has. It never will. And why? It has an inherent problem. It's called saturation. You run out of time. These people are trading their time for money. M2 is an excellent strategy. It's only used by 3% of the population. And that is because there's only 3% have any money to invest. So they invest money to earn money. And some of them aren't very good at it. Usually a person in M1, they've got a part of their paradigm is you got to save money for your old age. save money for a rainy day, you'll get a rainy day. But at any rate, that's part of the paradigm. So they're trying to squirrel a little bit away, and they get a little bit away, and they're going to invest it, but they don't know what they're doing. So it's a bad investment, they lose the money. Now, M3 is a beauty. It's only used by 100 people, 1% of the population, but they earn about 96% of all the money. It's unbelievable, isn't it? You've heard of the 80-20 rule. 80% of the business is done by 20% of the people. Therefore, 80% of the rewards go to 20% of the people. I did a thing in a seminar one time. If we had more time, I'd do it here, but we don't have time. I'd have people start and count. You go, you do 1, you 2, 3, 4, and you count. You just call it a number, 18, and so on, until we get to 100. And I'd have those people stand up. And then 80% of the people do 20% of the work, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. So I'd take the first 20 and have them stand over here. Now I said, this group here, they earn probably more than this big group all put together because they do more work than this big group. Is that the way it is? And everybody says, yeah. And I said, no, that's not the way it is. That is the 80-20 rule, but you've only gone part way. 80% of the money that's going to this group is going to go to 20% of those people. And you've got to keep breaking this down. You're going to find one person earning more than all the rest of them put together. Why? Because they're providing more service than all the rest of them put together. This works in almost everything. There's books written on it. M3, they earn 96% of all the money. That is because they multiply their time by setting up multiple sources of income. They don't have one, they have all kinds of them. Now look, our world is changing. It's changing at a very rapid clip. We think nothing of going to the other side of the world for a short seminar. We think nothing of it. It's very common. The world's not getting bigger. The world's getting smaller. It's shrinking. We're only hours away from anywhere now. You can have business all over the world through setting up multiple sources of income. You can do this. Marco. What's the most you've earned in a year? Over $1 million. Before you ever knew any of this, what was the most you'd earned in a year? Barely 100,000. Now the reason I asked him, because I know he's got this down, he's figuring this out. He's working at it, and he's getting really good at it. Now think, MSI means multiple sources of income. These are not multiple jobs. These are multiple sources of income. And you can keep setting them up everywhere. This was the primary motivation behind the marketplace. Help people do this. Connect with people all over the world. That's a focus we have in the matrix. Some of you are coming to matrix. You are going to absolutely love it, believe me. You can just keep setting this up in different parts of the world. See, you're not a long ways from anywhere today. My goodness, you could be sitting down in Newport Beach in the sand, Sam, and talking to somebody over in Yokohama, doing joint ventures with them. Why? Because that's the way the world's working now. Now, we started to teach this a long time ago. There's no end to what you can do. I call that the Wheel of Fortune. And some just say, well, all the MSIs the same size? Oh, goodness, no, some are big, some are small, some start and die. But they all have one thing in common. All of them. The money all flows into your bank. It's so cool from various parts of the world. That happens every night while I'm sleeping. But it continues all day long when I'm awake. Those bells are ringing. That's another one coming in, I can tell. you got to admit, that's a good idea, Sam. Do you think? You like it? Sam's still processing the last idea. Look at it. It's really beautiful, and it just keeps adding up. So you got to look at yourself. Are you doing it? Are you really making it happen? You see, the truth is no one alive can guess at what you're capable of doing. There isn't anybody alive. There's only one thing we know. Nobody can decide for you. It's something you got to decide. There's something you want to become acutely aware of. If you're scared, you're going in the right direction. And if you're not scared, you're probably marking time. You're stuck. Let me see a show of hands. How many are do a buck with Peggy? Let me see a show of hands. Stand up if you're going to do it. Now, I know there's a number of people. You know.
It's coming.
It's cool.
Hands up.
Okay, give them a hand. Okay?
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you, she is really good at this. You will be so glad that you did, and just stick to the plan. Do what she tells, and if you entertain doubt, that's fair. What the hell? You know? Entertain the doubt and then reject it. But some of the things that will happen in putting that book together will be life-changing. Believe me, they really will. But you see, it takes a decision. Now, there's somebody else that wants to do one, but you come up with a good reason why you couldn't do it. Well, the good reason came from your paradigm. It did not come from your heart. I can assure you of that. Anything that's going to stop you from doing something you've got an urge to do, it comes from the paradigm. Anything creative that you really step out and do, that comes from the heart. That's doing God's work. That's creating. That's becoming what you're capable of becoming. I think it's an absolute crime that we would spend an entire lifetime wandering around this planet and not do something really remarkable with the time we've got and the mind we've got. Now, we're going to do this program in October. And I've asked Gina, Gina's done this in the last hour. I said, Gina, get application forms for the seminar. I have already made a commitment that I will be here. My calendar is already blocked off. This is what we call making a decision for the future. I'm going to recommend that you decide you're going to be here. But you're going to come in with a different level of consciousness, a different level of awareness, so it's not the same person that's going to be coming here. It's going to be a different person. It's going to be more of you that's coming here. You can say, well, I don't really know what I'm going to be doing then. Well, now you'll know. Now you'll know. If you really want to keep moving in the right direction, keep moving in the right direction. If you want to change your life, you've got to change your life. It isn't going to happen by accident. Now, I'm a great proponent of multiple sources of income. I think everybody should have multiple sources of income. I have never earned enough at one place to really do some of the things I want to do. Odds are you're not going to either. You hang around us long enough, you'll be setting up multiple sources of income, believe me, because that's where we go. And that's where we'd like you to go. Those of you who are coming to the Matrix are going to have an absolutely incredible experience. You're going to become aware of just how good the world can be. Because you're going to have everybody in the room focused on you and what you're doing, and they're going to use all their contacts and all of their imagination and all their manpower to help you do what you're doing. And we've got a system where that works for everybody that's in Matrix. It's an absolutely phenomenal event. Al was sending a niece of his that I didn't really know before, and I said, how did she like it? She said it changed her whole life. And it does. These are life-changing. If you think this program has been good, You get into Matrix, and some of you are coming. It'll blow your mind. It's so powerful. I was on a plane going somewhere, I don't know, a few years ago, and I thought, I wonder what could happen if I had enough time and I had enough help. Just how could we impact a person's life? Well, of course, my mind started to go all over the place, and I started to relate to how my own life was impacted. And I thought, we'll do that. Now, matrix means birthplace. That's why we called it that. And it's the birthplace for great ideas. Most people's ideas are stillborn. We want them to breathe the life into them. And that's what matrix does. So those of you who are coming, you're going to absolutely love it. But right here now, you have an opportunity to register and say, I will be here in October. It'll be a powerful program, and you can make up your mind now that you want to go to it. You can register. We're going to sell this out very early, and if you're on streaming, you might come and join us. How many people are here because last time you're on streaming and you decided you want to come to the live event? Stand up for a moment. Wow, quite a few. Give them a hand. That's great. So wherever you are in the world, we invite you. You're going to be right here, right in this room. And we want you to come. We want you to come and enjoy yourself with us. Let us meet with you. Okay? Some of you have become consultants. I look forward to working with you. I'm the one that will be working with you quite a bit. Myself and Corey over here, my daughter-in-law, she was working for us for 5 years, and finally Brian woke up, my son, and we realized we had a jewel in this company, and they're married, and Corey runs the consulting program. She and Doug Dane and Tracy, they just do a phenomenal job. But I work very closely with them. So those of you who have become consultants, I'll look forward to working with you, and I want to show you what I showed Jacqueline McKenzie. If Jacqueline McKenzie can go in a year and earn over $500,000, anybody here can do it. You're capable of doing great things, but you've got to put what we're offering you, you've got to put it to work. I want to thank you very much for your attention. I'm going to now call up the director of events. This lady is phenomenal. She's responsible for making all this happen. She gets help, but she does it. Gina Hayden, give her a big hand. Thank you.
Give Bob Proctor a big hand.
Amen,
Sandy
Bob.
Gallagher, are you in the back? Come on out here. Give Sandy a big hand too. She should be coming out just any minute now. Poking her head up here. There she is. Thanks, Sandy. It takes a village to do this, and I have a lot of great help. Let's give all of the AV team, both PSAT and our company people at the back room, a huge hand. The photographers, the camera guys, you've done an amazing job. Thank you. We've got a group of volunteers at the back of the room who have been helping us all week. Big hand for them.